up, guys? My name's Dennis. I'm definitely a tweaker. I'm glad I'm in the right room. So I'm going to kind of explain to you guys what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. What it was like, it was freaking awesome. If it wasn't awesome, I wouldn't have been doing crystal meth for 30 plus years. Okay? I kept trying to get that same high I got at the beginning. Can anybody relate to that? Okay? But unfortunately with those problems, with the meth, consequences come. You know, I don't like consequences. So, let me move this down a little bit. Can you guys still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I don't like consequences, okay? So I run from my problems. I run from everything that stands in my way. You know, I freaking, I'm a little nervous. I'm usually not nervous when I speak. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm on TV. But, you know, I had a pretty decent childhood. Raised by my mom and dad. Okay, mom and dad got divorced when I was 5 years old. I'm the type of person that when I put something in my body, I don't have an on-off switch. Okay, I'm either all in or I'm all out. So from the very first time I ever got drunk, I was to see how much I could drink and how messed up I could get. So the first time I ever got drunk, me and my buddy, we had a handle of Jack Daniels. We're 12 years old, and we wanted to see if we could pound this handle of Jack Daniels between the two of us. Now I had no idea what was gonna happen, but I remember vaguely some things that did happen during that event. I remember we're both in the bathroom, me peeing on his head because I shaved in his head, and I wanted to give him a mohawk. So I figured if I peed on his head, my pee would dry and it would be all sticky and give him a mohawk. Okay. Okay, so that's how that went down. Okay, I go in, next thing I remember, I wake up and there's throw up all over my room. And I was living with my mom at the time. And my mom I thought was really cool because my mom would let me do what I want to do. Okay? So let's throw up all the room, and all she says to me, she's like, you better clean that. I don't want to cuss. You better clean that up. You know? So I go, of course, I clean that up. And of course, I didn't really like the effects produced by it. Like some people say when they drank, they're like, oh, the seas parted for me. Well, the seas didn't part for me, you guys. Okay? I did not enjoy it. All right? And then, so I saw the whole time, like my sister was a drug addict between the two of us as I was growing up through high school. So I always told myself, I'm never going to be like my sister. Okay? My sister used to walk the streets of Van Buren. She used to stay at the Flamingo Hotel. She used to sell her body for crack cocaine. And I used to talk shit to her. You know, not knowing about the disease. But I used to talk shit to her. It's like, look at you, you're a fucking loser. You're a loser. You know, what is wrong with you? You know, she had a little kid. She'd take her little son with her, and he would be walking. The cops would find him on the streets, and I'm like, I'm never going to be like that. Because I wrestled, and I played football. Only reason I played football is so I could be in shape for wrestling. Okay, because I'm a little guy. So I wanted to be a wrestler. You know, that's what I wanted to do. But I had some offers, but I didn't have the academics for it. My grades sucked. Okay, so I went off to a college, and when I went to a college, you know, I went to Yavapai Community College, and when I went there, the reins were open for me. Okay, because my dad was pretty strict. I got into so much trouble with my mom. My mom couldn't handle me, so she sent me off with my dad, and my dad was really strict. Like if I walk into a plant, I had to say excuse me to that plant. You know, so he was real strict. So when I got to college, all the reins were off of me. And when I got to college, I met Jimmy Joint and Bobby Bong, and it was off to the races. Okay? So I figured I'm going to be a firefighter because that's what I always wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be a firefighter. So I go to college to be a firefighter, but when I go to college, everybody parties there. That's all they do. So that's all I did. I partied in college so much that I got kicked out of my dorms. Okay, when I got kicked out of my dorms, I stayed with my other buddy at another dorm. And they found I was there, so they were going to kick him out, so I had to go. So then I got in an apartment with one of my friends. I don't know what kind of concoction I told my dad, but I told my dad something crazy, like, oh, I don't know what happened. You know, I got kicked out. I needed a place. So, you know, my dad got me my own apartment with my buddy Matt. And that right there, if you went into our room, anytime I saw any type of beer picture, anything that had anything to do with beer, posters, anything, I stole them. So my whole entire apartment, when you walked in, it was nothing but looked like a bar. It was beers everywhere, beer signs everywhere, and that's all we did in there. We just went to college, and I partied. I never went to school. We just went to, we smoked weed and we drank. You know, I didn't really, I'm not a really good drinker, you guys. I'm probably one of the worst drinkers you ever, you know, would want to encounter. Because when I drink, I black out and I don't know what the hell happens. Okay, I've woken up in jail with one sock on in my underwear and don't have any idea how I got there. I've woke up in my apartment before, I'm freaking butt naked and I don't know where my clothes are at. I walk down the apartment complex about 2 weeks later and my apartments are sitting there folded up in front of somebody's house, don't know who lives in there, don't know what happened that night. Okay? So, and whenever I drink, I piss myself every single time. Okay? I'm that drinker. Anybody can relate to that? Anybody else? Okay, cool. You guys are my people then. All right? So I would go to college and I would drink and I'd pee and I'd meet this, you know, chick. I'd go to her place and I'd pee on her. And then, I don't know why, but she would invite me back and I'd do the same thing the next night. You know? So, I mean, like, so alcohol and me do not mix. So, but I like the effects. I like the way, you know, something that makes me feel different from who I am inside. Because of what I have inside, I have a void inside here. Okay, and I use substance to try to fill that void that I have inside of me. All right? So, after I, you know, was partying my way out of college, I went back home. My dad owned a business. And my dad's business is from here to probably just a little bit out past that front door. Okay? And that's when I met crystal meth. Alright? That became my love. And that was back in 1992? Probably 1992. And what are we in? 2020, so it's been a while. So back in 1992, I started doing meth, and like I said, I was working for my dad, and I lived right on 24th Street in Highland at the Biltmore Club Apartments, and his office was right there. So all I had to do was walk across the street to go to work. I couldn't make it to work on time, ever. And I figured, well, if my dad owns the company, I don't have to show up to work, right? So I had a buddy of mine, you know, he was the heir to Pepsi. His parents owned all Midwest distributors for Pepsi, and he just flew in from Switzerland. He said, Dennis, let's go on a road trip. I'm like, cool, let's go. I'm at work. He comes to my work, picks me up. We go on this road trip. We don't know where we're going. We're just going to go for a drive. And the next thing you know, we're in Aspen, Colorado. And to this day, I never went back to work for my father again. Now, all my dad's dream for me when I was a kid, he's like, all I want you to do, son, is I want you to take over my business. You know? But my partying got in the way of that. I've done 12 years in prison because of my drug addiction, okay? It's not because I was never a bad person. I just made poor choices, okay? There's nothing wrong with you guys in here, okay? There's nothing wrong with anybody in here. Only thing that's wrong with you is you made some poor choices in your lives. Okay, all that's reversible. All that comes back. The best gift you can ever give your family is sobriety. All your family wants you to do to go to bed at night knowing that their son or daughter is okay. I got goosebumps just thinking about it. I had my dad flew in from Florida yesterday, or last week. He flew in last week and he came over to my house, and him and my dad, we hung out for like 5 hours, just me, my wife, my little baby boy. I just had a little baby boy. I'm 48, still got a little something left. You know? So my dad came out and hung out with us, you know, and we just sat there and just had a grand time. Okay, now me, I'm a tweaker by heart, so I've got these little tweaker bikes, motorized bicycles. Gavin remembers. He remembers my very first one. Well, I've come a long way since then. I build the sickest motorized bikes that you can imagine in Arizona. You know, I mean, we're talking 50, 60 miles an hour motorized bikes. They're just sick. My dad made them in the garage because he got me my very first one, and I showed him my new ones. I'm like, Dad, look, this is my new hobby now. He's like, wow, son, that's so cool, you know? Because I suffer from a disease of more. I need more. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, I haven't been able to figure out that balance yet, but I suffer from a disease of more. So I just finished this kick-ass bike, and I just spent another $1,000 for another motor for another bike. You're like, $1,000 for a motor on a motorized bicycle? Yeah, I know, I'm crazy. But see, I've been given a gift, you guys, where I can afford these things today. All right? I'm not saying this to say, oh, look at me. I'm saying this because I'm not special. There is nothing special about me. I'm the same as this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy right here. Only difference between me and you guys is I put some action into my recovery. Okay? I had this much willingness, and with this much willingness, I put some action into what I was doing. And you hear stories, oh, you're going to have a life beyond your wildest dreams. Anybody ever heard that? Yeah. I couldn't dream this big. My dreams were not this big. My dreams when I got sober, I just wanted a skateboard so I could skate around on. That's all I wanted. Okay? But I followed the process. I own my own house. I'm a program coordinator for Sober Living. I work at a treatment center. I've got all these cool freaking toys, but none of that freaking matters, you guys. Everything I own fits in a syringe. It could be gone like that. What matters, I can go to bed at night, have a clean slate, lay down on my pillow, and go right to bed. Wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and be cool with who I am. With nothing. With no substances whatsoever. That's a miracle for me. I thought I was going to be tweaker for life, For real. So the very first time I ever got sober, I was living at a sober living house. And, okay, let me back up. I got out of prison on May 13th, 2013. I got out of prison. Okay? And I went to this sober living house. And it was called the House of Refuge. I stayed there. But I started freaking using as soon as I got there. Not as soon as I got there. It lasted about a month. Okay? Before I started using meth. Does anybody else go to prison and they're really good in prison? They don't freaking use when they go to prison? They're really good in structured environment? But as soon as you get out of prison, you forget about everything that you ever had? That's me. Okay? As soon as I get in prison, I'm freaking do great. Like I've done 12 years. I think I got high 6 months out of all my 12 years that I've done. Okay? But as soon as I freaking hit the streets and I start... So that's why I'm an alcoholic addict. Okay? Because after every 6th or 7th beer, there's a bag of dope waiting for me. So I thought I could just go out, maybe I'll just drink, I could just maybe drink like a gentleman. It didn't happen. Okay, so anyways, so I start getting high at this freaking halfway house, and I'm taking Mountain Dew, and I've got one of these Whizzinator, and I'm freaking got Mountain Dew, my Whizzinator, and these guys know I'm freaking high. They know that I'm high, but I'm passing all their UAs. So they call me in again, they watch me, I pee again, and I pass. So the guy tells me to leave, but the next morning he calls me back. He's like, hey, Dennis, you need to come back in here. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you see this right here? He had a dirty UA. He goes, this is your UA. You got to leave now. And I knew what was up. I knew they knew what was up. I knew the gig was up. So I got out, and I went right across the street. There's another sober living called Sanctuary Sober Living. I got out. I called Sanctuary. I'm like, look, man, this is what's going on. I need a bed. I'm going to go back to prison. I can't go back to prison. What do I got to do? And it's crazy. They just UA'd the whole house and kicked everybody out for getting high. So I go to the Sanctuary, and I get there, and I still got the same Whizzinator, right, with the Mountain Dew in it. But when I go in there to go pee, they pick my money. They took my money first, and they waited 3 days. So when I go pee, the guy goes to me, he goes, I want you to take your shirt. I want you to hold your shirt in your mouth like this. I want you to take one hand, and I want you to go like this, and I want you to pee. So I'm sitting there, like, caught me off guard. So I'm trying to fumble with my device, and all of a sudden, it starts going off all over the place. And the guy's like, what was that? What was that? And I'm like, it's nothing. I start jumping up and down, and I'm like, I don't have nothing on me, man. Look, there's nothing there. Look. And he starts patting me down. He's like, no, man, I saw something. That wasn't right. So he goes, drop your pants. So I drop my pants. He's all, there it is, there it is. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, man, I know what's going to happen. I'm going back to prison. So I'm like, look, man, check it out. All right, you got me. I go, I cannot leave. I go, I got to freaking, I got to change. I got to do something different. He's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's our policy. He goes, if you'd have been straight up with me, I might have worked with you. But since you try to fool me, he's like, I've got to freaking kick you out of here. And I'm like, no, let me talk to Joey right now. So I called Joey up and I said, Joey, hey, this is what's going on, man. He goes, check it out, Dennis. He goes, this is what I'm going to do for you. He goes, go someplace for 3 days, stay clean, come back, drop a clean UA, and you can stay here. So I go, cool. So I went to my nephew's house. I stayed on his couch for 3 days, and I freaking slept for 3 days. I went back, passed my UA, you know, and I started going to these meetings, like what you guys are in right now. I started going to these meetings, and I'm like, I didn't want to go to these freaking meetings. I thought I was different. Okay? I thought I was different than all you guys. You know, you guys don't know what the hell I'm going through. So when I started going to these meetings, I could start going, somebody would say something, I'd be like, holy crap, that's me. And then somebody else would say something like, wow, I can relate to that dude. You know? And then I went to another meeting, a men's meeting. I go to this men's meeting, and my house manager took me to it. He's like, hey, this guy right here, this is your sponsor. I'm like, okay. You know? So he took me, started taking me through the steps, and I started enjoying myself again. I started enjoying going to these meetings. I actually was having fun, you know? So I'm at this freaking, I'm at the place for like 82 days, and I met somebody there, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go out on my own now. So I moved out, me and my buddy got our own apartment, and we made a pact, we made a deal. You know the deal. We made a deal. He goes to me, I go to him, I'm like, look, if you get high, you call me. And if I get high, I'm going to call you. It's a good deal, right? So that was our little pact we made. So we made this little pact, and I had a buddy of mine come over. He's like, hey, Dennis, can I store some stuff at your house? I'm like, yeah, man, you can store some stuff in my house. You know, there's a little truth in every joke. There is. I go, hey, bro, you got any dope? He's like, oh, yeah, man. Puts it in my hand. I'm like, oh, you mother. You know, I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm like, hang on a sec, bro. I got to go. I get on my phone. I call my buddy up. I'm like, hey, Robert, I got some dope in my hand right now. I'm thinking about getting high. He tells me, don't do a freaking thing. Wait till I get there. So I'm like, all right. So we're sitting there in this apartment, and he looks at my friend, and my buddy Robert's a guy you don't want to mess with. He looks at him, he's like, get in the other room. So you guys, come here. So we go into the bathroom, right? And while I'm holding this stuff, and then he grabs it out of my hand, and he's like, is this what you want to do? I'm like, of course that's what I want to do, bro. It's right there, you know? But he's like, is this what you want to do? I'm like, you know, bro, I don't think we should do this. He's like, is this what we're going to do? You want to do this? I'm like, nah, man, I don't think we should do this. I picked it up, put it in the toilet, and I flushed the toilet. And he reaches in and grabs it. He reaches in and grabs it and says, no, this is what we're going to do. So, my run lasted 1.5 years. His run didn't last so long. That lasted for another 1.5 years run. Okay? So, you know, while we're in this apartment, he got clean and I still kept getting loaded. So we made another deal. You know? And he goes to me, he goes like, if you get loaded, you got to get kicked out of the apartment. If I'm loaded, I'll move out of the apartment. I said, okay, that's a good deal. I'm still high the whole time, right? And this whole time I'm high, he pops over with his sponsor one day, and the sponsor's got a UA on him. He's like, here, man, I need you to take a UA. Well, they let me go in the bathroom by myself, and I had some bleach. So I put a little bleach in the UA. I heard bleach works, right? So I put a little bleach in my urine, and I handed it back to him. And he's like, well, looks like you're going to be moving out, bud. Bleach don't work, guys. So I packed up, and I moved my stuff, and I moved out of there. And I was going to be a normal freaking tweaker, guys. I was just going to freaking work, have a job, not rob nobody, not hustle, not sell no dope, not do any of the crazy stuff that I did before. It's like, I'm going to manage this, okay? I'm not going to go back to prison, all right? So I'm sitting there, it lasted about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half or so. And I had an apartment, lost the apartment, had a girl, lost the girl. And I'm sitting there couch surfing, and I'm homeless. I'm staying on like 23rd Avenue, Northern area, homeless over there. But I still got my job because I need to get my dope because I'm not going to, I told myself I wasn't going to do all my other stuff I was doing because I didn't want to go back to prison. That was my thing, and I'm still on probation while I'm doing all this stuff. But I had an address for the probation officer, but it wasn't my address where I was staying at because they didn't want me to stay there. They kicked me out. So I'm staying there, and I got paid. And when I got paid, I wanted to go clean up. I wanted to shower. I wanted to get laid. So I sat there, and I'm sitting at this hotel room. I went to a really nice one. Anybody ever been to 23rd Avenue and Sweetwater, the Travelodge? You know what I'm talking about. So I go to this Travelodge motel, and while I'm in there, I pay somebody for something, and they're supposed to be right back. They live right next door. Well, she never makes it. She never comes back. But me, I passed out, and I hear a knock at the door, and I'm like, oh, here she is. I open the door. It's my probation officer. It's daylight with 3 cops, and they're like, because if you go to a seedy hotel, they kind of run your names to see who's in those hotels. Well, they wanted to know why I wasn't staying at my residency, and as soon as they walked in, there was a pipe sitting there, and they look at me. They're like, is there anything else in the room? I'm all, in the room? Because it's on me. They're like, what do you got? I'm like, look, man, I got some heroin, I got some meth, and I got a couple syringes on me. They put those handcuffs on me, and when they put those handcuffs on me, I went, I was okay. Because I know what's going to happen. It's nothing new to me. This is what I do. I go to prison, I come out, I get healthy. I go to prison, I come out, I get healthy. So I'm in there, and I get my first hearing, not my revocation hearing, my first hearing, and the judge looks at me and goes, I'm going to give you a $50 bail because I don't think probation's going to give you a bail. So I go, okay. So I go to my probation hearing, and I get an $1,800 probation hearing, right? So my bail was $1,850. And why my bail is that, I'm trying to figure out who the heck I'm going to call. So what do? Call Mom, right? Mom's going to get you out. So I call my mom. My mom's like, son, I don't have no money. I can't help you. But your dad does. Why don't you call him? And I don't want to call my dad. I don't want to let my dad know what the hell's going on. So this is what happened. My mom called my nephew, and my nephew called my dad. And the conversation was like this. My mom told my nephew to tell my dad, look, if my son goes to prison again, I don't know if I'll ever see him again. Will you please bail my son out? That's my enabling mom. So my mom's living in California, okay? I get bailed out of jail. My mom's in California. She drives all the way from California to come see me. But I already got out. Where's the first place I went? That's right. I had to go get high first, okay? I just spent 5 or 6 days through the Matrix and up on 4th Ave, and I'm sitting there. I know I'm going back to prison. My mom comes out from California to come see me, but I got things to do, right? I got to get high first. So she comes up, and she looks at me. I see her. I meet up with her because I'm excited at first. I'm excited to see my mom. Mom, hell, thanks so much. I love you so much, And she looks at me and she goes, son, are you done? I go, yeah, Mom, I'm done. She goes, promise me you're done. I got heroin and speed in my pockets already. She goes, promise me you're done, son. I go, Mom, I promise you I'm done. Cunning, baffling, powerful. That's what this disease is. It doesn't matter who we're hurting. It doesn't matter what we're doing. As long as we're getting loaded, right? Right? That's the powerlessness of this disease. It doesn't matter if I'm going back to prison. None of that stuff matters to me. Only thing that matters is if I get my fix and I feel okay. Okay? I got to feel okay with who I am. So my mom's sitting there, and I don't know, I had to do something. I don't know what I had to do, but I'm sitting there, and Mama's calling me all the time on my phone. I'm on my skateboard. Okay? I'm on my skateboard skating around because I went and picked that up at a place. So I'm skating around and my mom keeps calling me. I see that phone and I'm all click, delete, decline, click, decline, click, decline. Because, you know, I got things to do, right? That's pretty messed up, huh? Your mama thinks she's going to die if you go to prison and then you don't want to spend no time with her. Whew. So while she's doing that, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm on my skateboard, I'm on the I-17 in Northern, and I see my mom. She's driving by in her car, like this. And I'm waving at her like this. And my mom's going like this. Drives all the way back to California, because she can't see her son die anymore. She can't see the pain that I'm causing her, and that I'm causing myself, that I don't even know that I'm causing myself. Because I'm too delusional in my addiction right now. Right? So, I'm out on bail. My dad actually got me a lawyer. He said he's going to help me. This is my last time. He's going to help me out this one more time. If I don't do something different, he's going to disown me. So, I'm a good homeless guy. So I'm at 23rd Avenue Northern. There's a little box behind there. So I'm sitting behind this little box at Circle K, little power box at Northern, and I'm back up there doing a fix. I'm going to treatment today, guys. I'm telling everybody on the streets. I'm going to treatment today, but it's Groundhog Day over and over and over again. Keep being Groundhog Day. You know, my dad always told me something. He goes, some day is not a day of the week. Okay? Some day is not a day of the week. People never plan to fail, they just fail to plan. That always stuck with me. My dad always taught me some really cool things. So some days not a day of the week. But I keep telling everybody, I'm going to go. I'm going. So my best thinking is I'm over here in front of the Circle K. I'm homeless. And anybody that comes out there is homeless. They're running them off. So I told myself, you know what? If you clean this freaking parking lot up over here, they're going to let me stay here. That was the way I was thinking. So I cleaned the whole Circle K parking lot, throwing everything away, making it look nice and good, you know, because we got to have a clean environment. And I come back, and there's my bag sitting there, but my skateboard's gone. Someone sold my skateboard. So I'm sitting there, I'm pissed. They took my skateboard. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I'm like, I'm going to treatment today. That was my bottom, you guys. Okay? That was my bottom. Not my mom coming to see me. Not going back to prison. But when they took my skateboard, I'm a lazy fricker. And I don't want to walk. Okay? So I start walking towards the light rail. This was back when it was on Montebello. So I start walking down 19th Avenue. I get to Bethany home, because that's as far as I can walk, because I'm tired, because I ain't got no dope. I get to Bethany home, and 19th Avenue, and there's a hospital right there, and there's a little fence about this big at the hospital. So I grab my bag, and I go on the side of the fence, and I fall asleep. Okay? And I fall asleep, and I get waken up to a flashlight in my face, a security guard and a cop looking at me like, what are you doing? And I had an honest moment. I said, I'm a drug addict and I need help. They said, that's good. You can't stay here, though. You know, to protect and serve, right? No. So I sat there and said, okay. So I had a buddy that lived right down the road. And I knew if I made it to his house, I can go get loaded one more time before I go to treatment. Because nobody goes to treatment sober, right? So I go one more time. I try to make it to the spot, and next thing you know, I'm laying halfway in the street, halfway on the sidewalk, with my bag, and I get woken up. Somebody tapping me on the shoulder again. He's sitting there tapping me, and I'm like, you know, I'm sleeping. I'm not knocked out. I'm like, what's up? You know, and the guy looks at me. He's like, look, man, I just want to let you know that if you stay here, this lady's going to call the cops on you. Okay? I'm like, thanks, man. I don't know why I had all these baseball gloves that I stole from somewhere. So I gave this guy a baseball glove, and I said, thanks. And I start walking towards the light rail. And I'm walking towards the light rail, and my buddy Carlos is driving by on the bike. And I get high with Carlos all the time. Carlos, where you going, man? You know, things got to line up for you, I think. I'm like, Carlos, where you going, man? He's like, hey bro, I got 3 days sober. I'm going to an AA meeting. You want to go with me? Woo. God's coming in the picture now, guys. God's coming in the picture now. So I'm like, well, I know they got donuts there, right? And I might get some coffee. So I go into this AA meeting. I sit towards the back, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm sleeping through the whole entire meeting. And as I'm sleeping during this meeting, the meeting's over, and I feel somebody tapping me again. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, hey man. He goes, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm at an AA meeting. He goes, no, what are you doing with your life? And I thought to myself, is this the best my life is ever going to get? Is this the best it's going to ever be? Am I going to be homeless, living on the streets, shooting meth and heroin? Is it going to ever get better than this? And I go to him, I'm like, look man, I'm a drug addict and I need help. He goes, great. Where do you want to go? Get in the car. I'll take you wherever you want to go. And I said, all right. I heard this place about Valley Hospital, you know. So on the way there, he's like, hey man, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah, I'm hungry. He goes, all right. He goes, I'll take you anywhere you want to go. So when he says, are you hungry? I look at him, and this is what I look like, you guys. Okay? So when I say I'm a drug addict or a tweaker for real, I'm a drug addict and tweaker for real, guys. Okay? There's nothing special about me. So he takes me to Valley Hospital. I go into Valley Hospital, and when I get in there, they're asking me if I got insurance. No, I ain't got no insurance. Well, call your dad. See if your dad will, or call somebody. So I called my dad. I said, hey dad, I'm at this treatment center. I need some help. Will you help me out? And I said, how much is it? I'm like, I don't know. Here, talk to the lady. So he talks to the lady. She hands me back the phone. She's like, your dad's not going to help you. I'm like, okay. Well, what do we do now? She's like, but I got some place I can send you. I said, all right. So they call a place. They have a van come pick me up. It's called Comtrams. I'm sure we've all used it before.
Yeah.
So Comtrams, it picks me up and they take me to the wonderful establishment of CBI.
Oh, yeah.
I go into Community Bridges, and when I walk in there, next thing you know, I don't know if I passed out or I fell asleep or whatever, but the next thing you know, they got me in a back room, and I'm eating them peanut butter sandwiches and them cheese sandwiches like there's no tomorrow, you know? But I stayed back there for I think 3 days or 4 days, so my blood pressure was through this charge, so they weren't going to let me go. So I stayed back there, and they're like, okay, what are you going to do now? I found out today it's called an exit plan. They want to see what your exit plan is going to do. What are you going to do? And I'm like, well, crap, I don't know. You guys are going to send me somewhere? I need some help. They're like, well, you got to figure it out. So I said, okay. I said, let me call my dad. So I call my dad up, and I say, hey, Dad, I was at this place, now I'm at this other treatment place. Can I come up there? Can we figure something out? He's like, yeah, son, get in the cab and come on up. So I get into a cab. I showed up to his house looking like that. I thought I looked good, though. You know, so I show up at his house like that, and when I get there, it was at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock on a Friday, and he goes to me, he's like, well, what do you want to do, son? I'm like, I don't know. I always heard about this place called Crossroads. So I call up Crossroads, and I call up there, and it's that night, and I tell him, look, I need help. My name's, you know, I told him my name's Dennis, I need some help. And they're like, well, that's great, Dennis, but you got to wait till Monday. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I need help right now. I don't know if I want to make it till Monday. And the guy's like, I understand, but you got to wait till Monday and go to corporate office. And I'm thinking to myself, man, how am I going to stay sober for 2 days? You know? So they said, if you can make it to corporate office at 6 a.m. At Crossroads, be there at 6 a.m., get in line in front of everybody, and we'll figure something out. So I said, all right. I was there at 6 in the morning. I got in. They admitted me into Crossroads East. And as soon as I stepped on the grounds of Crossroad, I got that same ease and comfort that I felt. I felt okay. All right? Now that was August 27th, 2015. Okay? That's when that was. I'd like to tell you that's my sober date. Okay? But that's not my sober date, you guys. Okay? Because this disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. All right? But I stayed sober for 3.5 years. Okay? I stayed at Crossroads for 4 months. I graduated the program there. I went from there. I went to sober living. I lived in sober living for 2 years. I became the house manager. I became the program coordinator of this sober living place. I chaired a meeting at TLC Sunny Slope. I had that meeting for 4.5 years, chairing a meeting. Okay? But, yeah. I had a girl. It's not her fault. It's not anybody's fault, okay, why you get loaded. You get loaded because you like the effects produced by drugs and alcohol. That's why I get high. Not because daddy didn't treat you right, not because you were abused, not because any of that. You get loaded because you like to get high. Okay? So, my girl was getting high every single day. I'd find her dope, throw it away, find her dope, throw it away, find her dope, throw it away. And I'm sitting there driving one day and I said, well, you know what? If she's going to get fucking high, I'm going to get high. Okay? And if she's going to get high, she's going to get high with me and do it the way I want to do it. So we went. I got some dope. She wasn't with me. I went and got some dope. I found some homeless people, 23rd Avenue in Northern, my stomping grounds, where I know where to get dope. I got some. Mixed up a little something in there. They made sure, I had them mix it up. I made sure these homeless people were in my truck because I didn't want to die. You know, I had Narcan. I had everything. I was all prepared for this. Okay, I was prepared this time. So I went and I got loaded. And then I got home. I called her up. I said, come home. We're going to get high together. We're going to do this together if we're going to do this. So I got some. I mixed up a thing for her. You're going to do it this way with me. And I gave her something. I was probably trying to scare her. Maybe trying to scare her. Really bad. But I gave her something and she's like, you mother, you're trying to kill me. You're trying to kill me. You know, that lasted for 2 days. We both got the same sober date. Okay, I went out for 2 days. We both got the same sober date. My sober date now is 11/12/2018. Okay? It doesn't get any better out there, you guys. The dope's not any better. Okay? Okay, if you guys try this program and you give it an honest 90 days or 6 months and your life doesn't get better, we'll gladly refund your misery. Okay? The dope man's still going to be sitting on the corner over there. I promise you that. Because I went back to my old stomping grounds and found it like that. Alright? But if nothing changes inside of you, you've got to be the person that change. You can't do it for your mama. You can't do it for your kids. You can't do it for your old lady. If you're not in this to change for yourself, you're wasting your time. Okay? Because you got to put God first, then your sobriety, and then you. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody. You guys, I'm here to tell you that this stuff works. I wouldn't be up here, you know, saying, oh, rah, rah, see you, man, you know, but this shit works, you guys. I promise you it works. All right? If you want a life worth living, find somebody that's got a working knowledge of the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous. Go through those 12 steps. Okay? Have your spiritual experience. And if you fall down, pick yourself back up. We always got a seat waiting for you. That seat you guys are sitting in right now has been bought and paid for. Okay? Your misery, everything you've been through has been bought and paid for. Keep that seat, you guys. You know, how am I doing on time? Okay, yeah, so, you know, now, I'm going to kind of tell you some of the freaking cool things that I get to do now. Because I get to do a lot of freaking cool things, you guys. I get to find guys in the pits of hell at TLC Sunny Slope. Okay? You guys got, this is Club Med compared to TLC Sunny Slope. I promise you that. Okay? But I get to find guys that come out of TLC Sunny Slope when I was chairing that meeting. They've got more sobriety time than I do now. Okay? Okay? That were hungry and willing, that wanted to change. I got a guy that has 47 years in prison, locked up in prison right now. That's killing the game. You spoke for you guys not too long ago, Jeff. You know? He's doing amazing, you know? And it's not me that did anything. He did more for me than I ever did for him. Okay? He helped keep me sober. How many of you guys got sponsors in here? Yeah? Pretty damn good. Wow. How many of you guys like helping people? How many of you guys like asking for help? Okay, all right. But see, that's the way this program works, you guys. Okay? It's like, if you don't ask for help, you're denying that person that wants to help you the privilege and the pleasure they're going to get from helping you. And then if you don't ask that person for help, you're denying yourself the help that you need. So it's a lose-lose situation. I remember when the first sponsor that I picked out for myself, he told me a story. He was an older guy. He would shoot dope like I did, blood running down his arms and stuff. And it was like I was asking if she got to a date. I'm like, hey bro, will you sponsor me? Because our pride, our ego, it gets in our way. I don't need help. I can do this on my own. Right? Anybody ever thought that way? Yeah? Okay. I can do this on my own. I don't need nobody's help. Well, guess what, guys? Your best thinking got you sitting in the chairs you're sitting in right now. Your best thinking got you sitting right where you're at right now. Ask for help. Put away that humbleness. Put away that pride. Humble yourself a little bit and ask for help. Because I'm telling you, you'll have a life worth living. Do I have problems? Absolutely. But my problems are, if I get a flat tire, I think to myself, well, thank God I got 3 tires that got air in them. Perception is everything, you guys. How you perceive things. I got sponsees calling me up, man, I'm having a bad day. God, the world sucks. I'm like, all right, let's stop for a minute. Did you wake up sober? Yeah. Did you go to work today? Yeah. Did you have money for gas to get to work? Yeah. You have a roof over your head? Yeah. How bad is your life? It's perspective, guys. I get to pay my electricity bill today. I cannot believe in over almost 5 years, I've yet to run out of gas in any of my cars. That's a miracle that I even have a car. It's because of the gifts of sobriety. If you put in the work, if you do God's work, God will provide for you. If you do your work, you'll be back again. It's just plain and simple. Like this life that God, this is the life God has given me. I just would go out and I would do His work. Some guys you hear, God, you gotta find God, you gotta find God, blah, blah, blah. You guys ever hear that? Yeah. You don't gotta find God, He's not lost. God is not lost, you guys. I promise you that. You need to come to Him. And my God doesn't have to be your God. That's the best thing about this whole program. It's just got to be the concept of God. Something bigger than you. The universe, love, whatever it is. Just don't let it be a tree. Because what if somebody cuts down your tree? It's got to be something bigger than you. My God, is Jesus Christ. That's who I call my God. And He's done for me what I couldn't do for myself. Time and time again. Who goes out for 2 days and comes right back? Because I knew, as soon as I started doing it, I started playing the tape. Okay, because I'm the type of person, it's not a matter of if I get arrested, it's a matter of when I get arrested. Okay? Because I don't have an ifs anymore. I know what's going to happen now. I tried the ifs, and it got me, let's go back to that. We got enough time? Let's go back to my little court case. Remember I got arrested? Yeah. Let's go back to my little court case. So I'm sitting there, I'm in Crossroads. Right, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. My attorney goes to me like, Dennis, you're going to get 6 years in prison. That's all I can do for you. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I got down on my hands and knees, and I prayed. And I go, God, if you want me to go to prison to save lives, I'll go to prison to save lives. If you want me to be out here to save lives, I'll be out here to save lives. But for now on, I'm going to do your will, not mine. And I was cool with that. I was cool if I was going back to prison. Everybody's like, Dennis, why are you so happy? Why are you so happy? I'm like, because, man, I'm free. Because I could be free on the streets and be a prisoner in my mind. I can be in prison and be freer than I am when I'm in my addiction. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So So I'm going through this court case, and I'm sitting to my friends like, Dennis, why don't you go out and have fun? Go get loaded again. Go out and do some things. These are good friends of mine that I still talk to today. And I'm like, you think living in a bush was fun? Because that's where my addiction takes me. So I'm sitting there, I'm fighting this case, and he tells me, he goes, look, Dennis, he's like, I've done everything you can. He goes, you're going back to prison for 6 years. And I said, okay. Me and my dad talked about it. We were going to take me and send me off to Brazil. You know, I was going to run from all this and go live in Brazil. But I talked to my sponsor, she's like, Dennis, you can't run from this. He's like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So I'm like, okay. So we kept doing what I was doing, and I finally calls me up. He's like, Dennis, I got her, man, I got her. I'm like, what do you mean you got her? He's like, I need a letter from everything you've done since you've gotten out of prison to what you're doing now. I said, okay. He goes, but I need it by 4 o'clock today. So I got down, got busy on the computer. I told him, she's my wife now, but at the time we were just in the friend zone. We've been best friends for a while. So we were just in the friend zone. I'm like, hey, I need your help. You need to write this letter for me? She's like, okay. So she would type up this letter, and I go. I've done 12 years in prison, never had one visit. No one's ever came to see me in prison, ever once. Okay? That's the type of drug addict I am. Okay? So I'm sitting, I write this letter, we go to court. My dad's never gone to court with me, never done anything. My dad goes to court with me, because I might be going back to prison. So he goes to court to me, my attorney's not there, there's some other attorney there. And my mind's like, who the hell's this lackey? You know, where's my attorney? And he's just smiling, and I'm like, what's going on, man? He's like, I don't know how he did it, but I got a plea sitting right here for probation for you. Okay? And I'm like, me and my dad look at each other, we hug, cry a little bit, you know, and he goes, come on. He goes, let's go in the courtroom, son. And the guy goes to me, he's like, look, they're going to probably ask for drug court, but we don't care. He's like, whatever they're asking for, we're just going to go along with it because we got this plea right here, right now. So I said, all right. So we get in there, the public defender's like, well, I think Mr. Kirk needs to be in drug court. And the attorney looks at him, he's like, no. Mr. Kirk's doing so good right now, I think that would be a step backwards. I'm like, what? That stuff does not happen to me. But when you surrender, things happen. So I'm sitting there, and I got my same probation officer that I had before, that I was supposed to go take UAs for, on task. Never went to go take one UA from her. Never took one when I was getting loaded. I had the same probation officer. She goes, Dennis, I need you to go drop a UA. I'm like, okay. So I went and dropped a UA. The whole time I was on probation, that's the only UA I ever took. That's not me, you guys. That is not me. That's God. Yes, sir. You know? So guys, if you guys like something I said today, that was God. If you didn't like something I said, that was me. Thanks for letting me share.